Welcome back to Communiqué13, third International Telecom Seminar.
And now it's time for the final keynote session of Communiqué13. For the same, I would once again like to invite Mr. Ramyang Pandya, Vice President, Service Management, Wholesale Business, Voice and Data, Tata Communications, to kindly join us on the dais. Today, Sir would be sharing with us his views on strategies for customer loyalty and retention in competitive environment. Sir, welcome once again to Communiqué13. I request Sir to kindly preside over the session.
So this is the forward and this is the backward. And hello. Am I audible? Good evening, everybody. Oh, sir makes me feel very old. Sorry. So I have a good name, which is Ramyang, and on a lighter side, that's a unique name. You can Google, and it's only one. And that's me, right? Strategies for customer loyalty and retention in competitive environment. I was just talking to Ayesha, who was kind enough of discussing what all you do here, and what kind of extra activities or extra kind of knowledge activities you all have. How many are you in data analytics? Data analytics, only few hands, only couple of them in the last, not much. Data analytics, great, less hands, it's good. How many of you are into customer experience data analytics? One, just 2, 3, 4, okay, fine, great. Okay, we are talking about customer loyalty. Before we start, I want to understand so that we have a dialogue and I'm not going to present something which is not known to any one of you in your marketing books or in your curriculum. You might have read or you might have studied this entire thing or you might know this concept. But I would like to understand how many of you understand what is customer service? How many of you have accessed customer service? Either bank, phone, anywhere. Many of you have not accessed customer service. Okay, great. How many of you are happy with the customer service? Excellent. So I have a lot to talk. Great. Okay, so let's start. I'm just going by some famous quotes on customer service, and I would like to tell that one of the best quote on customer service was given by a person who was not a consumer by himself. And when the consumerization, global consumerization was at a very nascent stage, I'm talking about Mahatma Gandhi. And in fact, his customer service quote is well publicized, well used, well understood quote of customer service, that customer is part of our business and he is doing an obligation by giving a chance for everyone to serve, and he is not an intrusion to a business. Very profound, quote. I'm just setting a stone on what we are going to talk, and hence I'm quoting some quotes of it. And if you see what Steve Jobs have said is, a lot of companies are downsizing themselves, but we need to create a kind of a product or a system or an experience where the customer would keep on opening up their wallets and pay for it. How many of you feel that, how many of you have iPhone or an iPad or an iPod? Any Apple product? How many have used any Apple product? Excellent, great. So you feel that you are paying always an additional cost of that Apple brand. Am I right? You're paying an additional brand. It's an iPod, and before iPod, there were many MP3 players which were there in the market. Before iPhone, there were many phones in the market. Before iPad, there were tablets and touchscreen tablets very much into the existence in the market. But you pay for that experience, right? So before, there is a small video. We'll take this 2-minute video, a look, and then I'll come back to you.
United Airlines on my way to Nebraska. The plane departed Halifax, connecting in Chicago's O'Hare. While on the ground, a passenger said from the seat behind me, "My God, they're throwing guitars out there." The band and I exchanged a look, best described as terror, at the action on the tarmac, knowing whose projectiles these would be. So before I left Chicago, I alerted 3 employees who showed complete indifference towards me. United, United, you broke my Taylor guitar. United, United, some big help you are. You broke it, you should fix it. You're liable, just admit it. I should have flown with someone else or gone by car. 'Cause United breaks guitars. When we landed in Nebraska, I confirmed what I'd suspected. Mike Taylor had been the victim of a vicious act of malice at O'Hare. So began a year-long saga of pass the buck, don't ask me, and I'm sorry, sir, your claim can go nowhere. So do all the airlines people from New York to New Delhi, including kind Miss Earlwig, who says the final word from them is no. I've heard all your excuses, and I've chased your wild gooses, and this attitude of yours, I say, must go. United, United, you broke my Taylor guitar.
Okay, so how many of you know this video? Couple of you, yeah. So I'll just give you a background which will set, what we are going to talk on the topic of customer loyalty, retention, strategies, and all around. This is an experience of Mr. Dave, who was flying from Halifax to Chicago, and he is a musician by profession, and he plays for the music concerts and everything. And he was flying from Halifax to Chicago, and his guitar was mishandled by United Airways. He went and complained about it. The only thing which he wanted was a true apology from United and a compensation for the breakage, because it was a tailor-made guitar and it's a little expensive. There's a lot of emotions attached to that guitar. He went around talking to various people in United Airways, and what he got as an answer was no. And you can see that there was Ms. Irwin, who was actually a customer service representative, who finally gave an answer no, that no, we can't serve you, it's your fault, we are not responsible, you haven't read the fine prints in the ticketing that we are not responsible for this and that and everything. So he said, fine, I only know one thing, I'm a songwriter and I can sing. That's the two things which I can do. So he made this video, and the cost of this video is only $150, which he has himself said in one of the lectures. He made it, and he did not know how to reach out to everyone, but he he definitely said in his last email to United Airways that I'm going to put it on the public forums, and I guarantee that there will be 1 million people hearing me. So he posted this onto your YouTube. And till date, if you see, the hits on this video are around 100 million. So US Airways is, United Airways, sorry, not US Airways. United Airways is one of the biggest airways in America. And this one video or one experience actually made United Airways change their policies. The loss to United Airways for this one video is not estimated, but it is a fact which a CEO of United Airways later on after a year admitted that it costed him around $1 billion+. One experience bad. The person whose experience was, it's only a guitar. Yes, there is a lot of emotions which are attached to something of that kind, but it actually costed the company a lot. So there is a strong correlation between a customer service or a customer experience or a customer loyalty and value of the business. Normally, how many of you think that customer service is a fag end of the life cycle of a customer? How many of you think that? Customer service comes very late in the customer life cycle, or customer service starts after a person becomes a customer. Any answers? Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I'm just waking you up. Sorry? Okay, good. Anybody who wants to second him? That customer service comes when a customer becomes a customer. That means he purchases or he uses the service. That's where the life cycle starts. Okay, so you are talking about pre-sales life cycle. If I'm talking in the life cycle management part, it's a pre-sales life cycle where you still think it's a customer. Who goes with that lady? Sorry, I didn't got your name. Sorry? Joy. Yeah, how many of you want to go with Joy? Great. So, I'll come to your point and your point as well, both in the due course of 20 minutes which I have, I think. I'm sorry if I'm on time. Yeah. So, there are many surveys. If you research out on Google, or if you do take up many research papers, which are tons and tons of research have been done on retention, loyalty, customer service, where it starts, where it's ends, what should be done during those phases. There are tons and tons of, and the numbers can vary from, a loss of customer is proportionate to $1 to $100, or proportionate to one happy customer saying to 3 people and one dissatisfied customer saying to 20 people, and extrapolation of all numbers. And we'll not go into the number jargons much, but yes, there are some correlations, and this research paper have been quite correct, not accurate, quite correct in projecting those numbers. So if we see that 68% of the customer leave with the treatment. Now the treatment is not when you only have a service, it's only what Joy rightly said was when you are in process of buying a product. So how many of you have accompanied your parents when they go to buy a TV or a washing machine or a refrigerator? Excellent. Have you ever gone with a product name, the model number and everything, and say, hey guy, I want just this? No, very less. What you go is, you want to buy a TV and your budget is 30,000 rupees. Am I right? That's the broad, vague idea, and then your mom is there, your dad is there, maybe if you're a joint family, your uncle is there. Shopping is a fun, right? Shopping is fun. So we all go for shopping, and then we ask each other, and if it's a kid-dominating family, then kid will say, no. In my case, yeah, it's kid-dominating family. So my son would say, no, you don't buy this, It's not good because he's more tech-savvy than me. So yes, that influential thing starts coming, and the sales guy smartly influences what he wants to sell. So that experience during the sales also is part of that 68%. 14% are dissatisfied with the product and services. So once you buy, then you know what kind of service or product. Now you see from 68 it has gone down to 14%. And then 9% either they don't want the service anymore, they don't feel that the service is relevant to them, and so on and so forth. So what does it say? So this question I asked, what is customer service? And this is the definition of customer service as it is in the books of management. That it's a provision of service to customer before they buy, while they buy, and after they buy. So it's all the three life cycle of the customer is where customer service is attached to it. In many companies, the customer service is directly under marketing, and marketing inputs are very much relevant to customer service, and customer service inputs to marketing are also very relevant. They coexist, and there is a lot of synergies between those brands. So what are we trying to say here in terms of customer loyalty is that customer loyalty doesn't necessarily start after you buy a product. It also starts before you buy a product. That means it also influences the buying decisions which a person would take while he's going and buying a product. Do we agree on this point now? Great. Now, what is the impact? As I said, impact, there are many papers, many researches, there are many numbers, but these are few numbers which have been quite authentic and quite latest is 68% people churn. When you say churn, they move away, right? They move away from X to Y, A to B. Then you have 25% higher ops cost. This is something which is not very directly measured by many of the customer service organizations or many of the organizations who are giving their products and services to the customer. But when you have a poor customer service, your reputation of customer complaints keeps on adding to it, which leads into a higher operational costs. Which means there are more people to say negative about you, so you have to invest more money to market that product. That means it's a higher 30% marketing cost. And the brand itself goes to a image-breaking thing where it's not considered as a premium or a product where you would give any extra money. So your brand actually gets a lot of negativity on it. So it's considered as a subpar brand. So now I'm coming to having this context built. I'm coming to the main thing which we wanted to talk about was customer loyalty. So what are those building blocks on customer loyalty? Many theories are there. I have picked up one of the many theories is the triangle or 4 blockers. I would put it this way. And the left-hand side only denotes what is the survey saying that 88% of the respondent of around 30,000 people who were surveyed responded that quality is prime on 88%, and 72% said that they want to have a differentiated customer service or a better customer service. So it's on the top 2 list of the customers when they buy, knowingly or unknowingly. When you buy any product, I think we still I shouldn't be so critical on a subject, but when we try to go and buy a brand, we also see where it is made of, right? Whether it's made in China or it's an original brand, we do see it. So that's where your quality starts coming into your mind. So the first is outside-in approach. Second is the consistent quality, right first time, and then the relationship. So at the pyramid top, which is a very niche area, is the relationship between the consumer or an individual and a company. So what is outside-in approach? I think this would have been discussed at you, that the customer should be customer-centric, customer-focused. What does it mean? That means customer being the center of the business and not the other way around, business being the center of customer. So if we have to create an outside-in approach, what are those? So this four blocker has got 4x3 matrices, which is 12 elements, and then the sub-elements will not go into the details of the sub-element unless there are any questions. I would go into the sub-elements, otherwise we'll go into the top level and then we'll move ahead. Change of perspective, what does it mean? In Inside Out, what do you mean by a change of perspective? It's the way you look around you. Rather than going more, unless you have a differential products like iPhone, you have to go to the customer and understand him, rather than saying, take it, this is what I have. Right? So those are gone are the days when you say that, take it, this is what I have, rather than going to the customer and saying, yes, what you want is what I can give it to you. So catering to the needs of the customer, thinking from that angle what they need, rather than giving them what you have to offer them. Customer-centric KPI. Now, key performance indicator is something which every business has got. Normally, the balance sheet is the key performance indicator of any of the company, but that's not a customer-centric organization. The default byproduct of your balance sheet is how you look at the customer experience and how much you have created those kind of learning into your own organization and have created that culture is where the customer-centric KPI starts coming. How many of you remember this date, 26/11? It's something which will never go from our memory, right? It was a day when terrorists attacked Mumbai. How many of you relate Taj with 26/11? How many of you heard the stories of how they were served during this 26/11 by Taj people? Now, none of the KPI is there in the balance sheet. None of those KPIs are there in the balance sheet of Taj Hotel Group, that is Indian Hotels, that each and every person of Taj is being trained or has got that kind of attributes within himself that even those moments of crisis, he's thinking about customer first and not about his own life. So it's one of the best example I can give what does a customer loyalty means. And those who were alive and came out of Taj, they have sweared by themselves, and there are many interviews, you can go to YouTube and Google them. There are many interviews of the customers who were there. They said, after this, I will not leave, or I will not stay at any other hotel than the Taj. So it creates that loyalty. So customer loyalty, and by default it becomes a retention. And now if the Taj room cost is 1,000 higher than the rest of the 5-star hotels, people won't mind giving that 1,000 rupees extra. Do we agree on this point? Great. So what does it lead into? These two KPIs will lead into your customer centricity in your business. We talked about the next thing in the pyramid was the consistent quality. How much of you buy the product knowing that it's a bad quality product? How much would you pay for it and say, yes, I want to buy this product who has got a bad quality? How much of you? No one? Why is price not an important factor? Is price an important factor? I'll rephrase my question. Is price an important factor of your buying decision? Is it the most important factor of your buying decision? How many of you said yes? Handful, okay. How many of you said no? Many. So never. The normal perception in an organization is price drives the market. Price is the prime important thing where it impacts the buying decision of a person. But it has proved time and again wrong that this is a notion which a person carries. Otherwise, everybody would be driving a Nano, right? Sorry. Okay. But that doesn't mean the quality is not important or substandard quality products doesn't sell. It's the value for money. So, as I was saying that there were X number of people, around 30,000 being interviewed recently in 2013. These are the census numbers of 2013. 88% of the people, as I've said it in the earlier slide, 88% of the people said, this is a demographic between 16-year to 35-year age. So 30,000 people between 16 years to 35 years of age were polled, and they said 88% of the people in that poll said quality is something which they have the prime in their mind when they go for a buy. And second comes the customer service. Third is the price. So price is not the top two deciding factor. So when we say consistency of quality, we need to define quality, right? So if you buy a made in China, no offense to that country, but I'm just no offense in person to that country, but it's just what I'm saying is the perception which is globally been built. When you buy a made in China product, there is a defined quality of it, right? You don't expect it to last more than 6 months. If it lasts for 6 months, it's great, your money is returned. You won't expect a made in China to last for 10 years, right? So that's what I'm saying, defined quality. When you have any product or services or anything, you have to define what is that quality. How many of you have called a bank call center? Good. What do they say? We will revert you in next 24 hours or 48 hours. This issue will take 72 hours to resolve. So they are setting your expectation on what quality you can expect to 72 hours. So that is their definement of quality. But if you call an hospital, you won't get that answer that I will treat you after 72 hours, right? Okay. So it's the same thing. So you have to define your quality when you have your products and services, or when you are in marketing campaigns, you have to define what is that quality with which you will transparently say to the customer, this is what you can expect minimum from us. Second, clear deliverables. So clear deliverables are something which are not very popular till date, but now on the financial market, the clear deliverables are coming very prominently. If you are listening to the ads of any life insurance or insurance model or a mutual fund model, it will take that it's at the risk of the market, and the assured return can vary between X to Y. So now they are talking about the deliverables. So they will say you will get an assured return of, like, you start investing 1,000 rupees and you get 1 lakh rupee when you are age of 50. But then they will have 2 stars where they will say this 2 star is that if the market performs at this rate and the returns are calculated this rate. So they are now telling you the deliverables. So you have to define your deliverables very, very clearly. That when you do this, when you have a defined quality and when you have a defined deliverables, that creates a value for money. Then the customer is understanding what is that value for money. If I have to buy a battery which is for my expensive mobile phone, I will not go for a made in China 10 rupees battery, but I'll go for an original one. But if it is for something which you want, you are not going to use it longer, you will compromise on the quality, and you will see the price as a prime factor on that. So you will define your value of money once you know the defined quality and the defined deliverables attached to it. Below are some numbers which you all can read. I don't want to go into that numbers much. But yes, it also, when it is not rightly communicated, it starts eating away your bottom line. It's a beautiful thing when we talk about customer service. If you buy a product, it adds to your top line. And then you start calculating your expenses and you come to your PAT, profit after tax. But when a bad customer service is done, the loss is directly hitting your bottom line and not the top line. So the irony of the fact is customer loyalty or customer satisfaction it's a silent killer for any company. The company who doesn't pay attention to those nuances of customer service or customer loyalty, his bottom line is hit every time there is a transaction which happens. And there are many companies. If you see if anybody is following Forbes 500, you will see that there is a churn in top 100 every time. And the longevity of any company, except few, is not more than 3 years in a row. 4th year, you will find that 20% of the company is changing from top 100, right? They are moving or they are nowhere in the list. Now, if you go and analyze those, you will find that one of the key reason, or the survey says that 60% of the reason why they moved out of top 100 list was not paying attention to customer service. The third thing was first time right. Now we are going up in the value chain. We went to from, what was the first thing which we discussed? I'm sorry, I have a bad memory. Yes? Sorry? No, the first, the base block of the pyramid. Outside in. So that's culture. Second thing was quality. So now after a culture, we have built up a quality. Now we are talking on base of quality, how we are now going. Now we are touching the humans, right? Till date, we are not touching the humans. We are still talking inward centricity, that how our company or how your, if you are going to be an aspirant entrepreneur, how your product or services has to be molded in your order, right? We are still not touching the customer. Now we are touching the customer's emotion. How many of you like IVRs? How many of you know what is IVR? Okay, so when you call up any call center, you start listening, you are our prestigious customer, but you are 25th in the queue, I will serve you in 10 minutes. And then the 10 minutes actually is about 25 minutes, and they'll still say you are very prestigious to us, you are most important to our business, however, you're still in my queue, and I'll serve you in another 10 minutes. And you really get pissed off of it, right? You hang up. The most of the time, it's an irony on which the India is driving its own IT boom, call centers, and it's the biggest negative customer service attributes ever been made. The call centers and the IVRs. IVRs are made for cost efficiency, but they are one of the most worst, let me use that word, extreme created. So, first time right. Have to say about first time right. How much will you appreciate a company when you pick up a phone and you have been answered, your problems are solved. And they say, yes, this is your problem, this is your solution, is it okay, working, yes, tuck, the phone is disconnected in 3 minutes. You will appreciate that dialogue, or you will appreciate a dialogue waiting for 10 minutes, and they say, I appreciate your problem, but I can't do anything about it. Most of the time, who are using a credit card, I don't know how many of you are using credit card, but when you call up a credit card company, most of the time you'd say, I appreciate your problem, but I can't do anything. So what's the fun in talking, waiting for 10 minutes, not getting a resolution, having the same pin continuing, my pin, and when those who are using ATM cards, and if by mistake their pin has been blocked, if you want to, I'm not picking any industry, by the way, right? I don't have any offense against telco, I don't have any offense against banking, I don't have an offense against any credit card companies. But it's just a general experience which we all go through, right? Your pin is blocked. If you ask on a phone, please unblock my pin, you'll say, no, I'm sorry, I understand your problem. You actually want money at that time. He'll say, no, I will post you, it will reach in 7 working days. And if you are on a Friday, God forbid, you will have to wait for a weekend. That means it's 9 days. Is it first time right? No, it's not first time right. First time right means for that call center executive, his KPI is first time right. My customer called up and said, my pin is blocked. I have answered, I opened up the script, I read the script, what I have to say. I said the same thing, so for him, the KPI is first time right. He will say, I'm 90% first time right. But if you now wear the shoes of customer, he'll say, I'm sorry, I did not want to use that word, but yes, what the hell you are trying to say, it's not first time right for me. So first time right from the customer side is more important to have it imbibed in you. So what it says, listen and understand. Half of the time the people don't want to listen what somebody has to say, what problem it is. Second, knowledge management. This is something very missing, and this is something which is, those who are into data analytics, those who are into analysis of data, this is something which is happening at a very lightning speed into the services and product industry is knowledge management. What does it mean? When a customer is calling, you have the complete history from the day he has purchased or he was likely to purchase till that moment of interaction, what is his pattern, what he likes, what he dislikes, how many times he has accessed my customer service, blah, 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 what are the issues, and he knows, okay, this customer has got this issue more. And he asks, okay, so last time this was there, is it the same? They'll say no. And then that knowledge management. Or similar kind of problems getting resolved by something. So the knowledge management becomes a very, very essential tool in an organization as on date. And below are the numbers which are there are actually the benefits out of that attribute which has been measured by the organizations. And this is out of a very reputed survey of McKinsey recently done. An empowerment. How does an empowerment work? How much of you understand what does an empowerment mean? Anyone who would like to take this word and say what does an empowerment mean? Whom are we trying to empower? Okay, good. But when he's coming for a customer service, whom are we empowering? Absolutely. The front-end employees. It's like not empowering a soldier to fire in a war. Today we are in a situation where the front-end guys who are actually talking to the customers are not empowered. Right? So it's like putting up an army of soldiers, not giving them guns, giving them the bullet, but not giving them an authority to fire. We are in that situation today. If you start empowering, the first time right starts improving, because now he has got that confidence that what come may go, I am ready to serve my customer and resolve his problem. How many of you have Googled and seen Johnny the Bagger story? Okay, I'll take some other time. So now we are going to play another, as you folks are marketing folks, I want you to take a little different view. This is by an author, Ross, and he has got a book written on empowered employees, and empowerment itself, and he's a big marketing guru by himself.
Yeah. Not just one corporate Twitter account.
With maybe Best Buy and their 12 force, you said a statement that I really liked in the book, that customer service is marketing. Like, are you trying to say that customer service is your main source of marketing, or what are you trying to say with that?
Well, we're actually able to quantify the amount of word of mouth that people generate. And in the United States, for example, we're talking about 500 billion impressions that people make on one another about products and services in social environments every year. So in an environment like that, what your customers say is crucial. That means influencing what your customers say is marketing, because they're telling other people. So if you deliver the kind of customer service that makes people delighted and talk about how great your products are, then you're actually generating marketing. Contrary-wise, if you abuse people and that abuse becomes knowledgeable or becomes public, then you have thousands or even millions of people hearing about just how awful your company is.
Is there...
Not just...
Okay, so what did he talk about? Some numbers he talked about, right? How many impressions are we talking on social media only in USA? He said about some word, right? 500 million impressions, right? And what is he talking about? Which attribute of marketing is he talking about? Absolutely right, word of mouth. That's something is very, very, that's what? Word of mouth is what? Being loyal. What does it mean? More retention. Simple formulas, right? But we forget, we arrange complexity around these formulas and try to create more complex environment for a customer to approach us and create a loyalty out of it. Relationship. Now we are coming to the top of it, right? Now relationships, top of the pyramid. So I'll not take, how much time do I have? I just want to do a time check. 5 minutes more? Thank you. Okay. So we are into, now one is the customer lifecycle. Now there are attributes, brand reassurance, realize potential, track behavior, retain, protect vulnerable, and acquire. So acquire starts as a first, acquire, then brand reassurance part, right? So what we are talking about relationship is from acquire to brand reassurance, there is an indirect way of engaging because it's more about, you word of mouth publicity with somebody endorse someone or through your media channels where customer would know about you. Still, there is no emotion contact been built between the company and the customer. But the moment he becomes, right, so acquiring and brand reassurance comes up, we are now talking about realizing potential, that is coming from your knowledge management. Track behavior is also your knowledge management. To retain through good customer service, and then protect vulnerables. Those who are likely to churn, protect them, bring them back, give them some alternates, keep them into your things. So, social media impact. When we talk about channel of interactions, how many channels are we giving our customers to come and talk to us? That talks about your feedback surveys, your online portals, your outlets, direct and indirect. Everybody has got a mobile phone, right? Many of the times we go to the outlet from where we have purchased when there is a problem rather than going to the service center as well. Now that outlet is not owned by the company. So if it's a good company, it will empower that outlet to even collect or some kind of empowerment they will give so that the outlet will, so the outlet is able to give the feedback or the outlet is able to collect the feedback of the customer and work or authorize on behalf of the customer. So that's one of the channel of interaction which is opened by many of the companies. There are direct channels, either SMS, email, you can say call center, face-to-face, social media. If you see face-to-face impact, positive impact is 70%, so positive or negative impact. That means if you go into the company or the company visits you, which is more relevant into the B2B segment of the businesses, when a rep of a company comes and meets you, the way he dresses up, the persona, the way he talks, the way he's articulating his dialogue with you is what you will create an impression of the company. Call center has got around 53% of impact on the customer, either positive or negative, however it's the interaction. Social media still is little nascent, but 38% is a sizable and it's uncontrolled. If you see the bottom three, SMS, call center, and face-to-face, it's a controlled one. You can train your people, you can give trainings, you can send your best guys, everything. But social media is uncontrolled. You can't control what people has to talk on social media. And we have seen the first video where I said it's around 100 million people have viewed United Breaks the Guitar. And it has created $1 billion+ of dent in United Airways. So channel of interactions are very important. And now as social media is becoming much more stronger and stronger, there is a dire need in an organization to have it a little more controlled, more responsive, more managed. So some of the companies actually have a team who will keep on seeing what kind of feedbacks are coming onto their website or for their products, and they keep on giving answers to those so that the negative impression of those comments are diluted and they create more positive impacts of it. Second is the loyalty programs and rewards. How many of you have got any loyalty cards? Loyalty cards. Shopper Stop loyalty, Pantaloon loyalty, Big Bazaar loyalty, Blah loyalty, Do loyalty, so many loyalties. Good. Okay. How many of you are excited of having the loyalty card? Very few. Many of them had it, but few of only are excited loyalty, because now over a period of time the marketing, you are all marketing people, right? Am I correct? Most of you are from the marketing MBA program? How many of you? How many of you, marketing, who has got one subject as marketing? Okay. Now, the fact of the thing is, marketing brains have drained to create a differential loyalty programs now. Right? So the loyalty card which you have in your pocket is not exciting anymore. Correct? But great companies or the great marketing programs are targeted, the loyalty programs or the reward programs are targeted to the pattern. When I'm saying track behavior, that's where the marketing team are working very hard to create a customized marketing or a referral or a loyalty program to target an individual as an individual and not have 10% free. You buy a Coke Pat bottle, 10% free. That's loyalty or a reward, right? You are buying a Coke Pat bottle and getting 10% free, but are you really interested in getting the 10% free? No, you just want to drink a Coke and hence you bought it. That 10% free has not excited you to buy that Coke bottle. So that's why I'm saying the marketing brains have drained to create loyalty programs and reward programs. It's no more means offended to any of the marketing teams, but yes, the differential program lies in how you track, how you interact with an individual as an individual, track his behavior, give him what he likes. So if there is a loyalty program from me, from Flipkart, it should be I buy a lot of the books, the kind of books I buy, and I get a best deal or a best book, which is available rarely. Then that's a program to me, and then I'll use more. So what does it say? The final word is very important, very powerful, very meaningful, one family. So what you are doing is you are removing the word consumer, customer, and you are recognizing a person as an individual human. Correct? The most great companies, can anybody say which company do you think is the best customer service, customer caring, one family company? Sorry? Hardly any name? Hardly any name when you can say they treat me like their family. No one, right? Not a single company which you think is the best company which treats you as a family. And the day you have that, you will connect to it, right? So one family is what is something which many companies, how many of you know a brand name named Zippos? Starbucks. Okay. How many of you know Xerox? Good. The names which I have said are some of the companies who has reached to the fourth quadrant in the four quadrants, right? They are in that fourth quadrant. In India, we still have only one company which is reaching to that quadrant, and that is Taj Group of Hotels. No other company is still near to that, where you feel it's one family. %, word of mouth. When you have this, Starbucks, do they advertise more? No, they don't. I have hardly seen Starbucks. I'm traveling a lot, but I haven't seen much of Starbucks advertising themselves. Right? So 23% of their customers are repeat customers. And Starbucks, how many of you have visited Starbucks outlet? You pay an extra premium for that same damn coffee which you get in Coffee Day. Correct? Same coffee, Little difference, but I don't know. I'm not a coffee connoisseur where I can make a difference between that finer aspect of, coffee taste. I just drink coffee for a coffee. But I'm ready to pay that extra money when I'm going to Starbucks. It's around, what, $200 a cup of coffee? And the same at a chaiwala store, it's around 10 rupees, right? But that connect which you create, though there is a lot of debate over that how it is able to create that loyalty towards the customer is that they feel part of the family. How many of you know Harley Davidson as a brand? Excellent. That's one family. An owner of Harley Davidson is Harley Davidson till the time he is buried in the coffin. That's one family. He's proud. He can do a divorce with his wife, but he will not divorce with his Harley Davidson. And that's fact. There are many stories. You can pick up internet and you can read about Harley Davidson a lot. That's one family. What they make a bike. What's the difference? It's that experience. It's that all aspect which we have discussed on this floor. So that's where the loyalty program comes. And now I'm going to give a last video of the session, which talks about a very big motivational speaker plus an authority on customer service and experience, Seth Hikins. And he is giving an experience of a cab driver in the last. So yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is Chef Hyken. Let's get right to it with a story about a cab driver that delivers outstanding customer service.
It was in Dallas, Texas, middle of the summer, 102 degrees, sweltering. And I just finished a program just like this. I walked out of the convention center dressed like this, had a couple of heavy suitcases, and I was in luck because up was pulling the taxi cab. Out jumps the driver. He comes around to take my bags. Let me describe to you what he looked like. Cut off shorts, a sleeveless shirt, messed up hair. Hadn't shaven in maybe a week. For all I know, he hadn't showered in a week. I look at this man and I think to myself, this is not a moment of magic. This is a moment of misery. Why? As I look at him, I'm thinking, what does the inside of that taxi cab look like? I mean, look at him. You know it's dirty and grimy in there. You know there's no air conditioning. It's probably broken. I'm going to get into this moving sauna, and 25 minutes later, I will be drenched in sweat. The suit will be wrinkled for the day, and about the time I actually get out of the cab, a little spring's going to pop through the vinyl seat and rip my pants. So I look at him, and he looks at me, and he says in this deep Texan accented voice, sounded nothing like the man that I was looking at, and I can't even get as low as he can go, but I'll try, he said, "Get in the cab. It's nice and cool inside the cab. I'll take care of the bags." And he smiled. It didn't look right. Sure didn't sound right. I look behind the cab to see if there's a ventriloquist. Well, I handed the gentleman my bags, I opened the door, and cool air hit me in the face. The air conditioners worked just fine. As a matter of fact, it was cold inside the cab. And as I got in, the cab was spotlessly clean, and sitting on the seat next to me were two newspapers, the local Dallas paper and a USA Today, and right in the middle where the hump is, there was a bucket with ice and 2 soft drinks. Couldn't believe it. I had to look back to make sure the guy was still putting the bags in the back of the cab. Eventually, he gets into the front seat, picks up a dish of candy, turns around, offers me a piece of candy, and that's when I remembered what Mom always said. Don't ever take candy from strangers. This was different. I took the candy, and I asked the guy, "Is this your cab, or are you like borrowing it for the day?" And he answered me. He said, and I won't get as low as he can go, he said, "This is my cab, and you make yourself at home. The newspapers are yours to take with you at the end of the trip, no extra charge. The sodas are yours to drink, compliments of me. Have as much candy as you'd like, and by the way, it's a $22 flat rate, which is the same rate that any honest cab driver would charge you from downtown out to the airport. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride." And I thought, wow, this guy's good. We get onto the highway, he asked me a question no cab driver has ever asked me before. "Are you in a hurry? Is it okay if I do the speed limit?" by that time, I was reading a newspaper, drinking a soda. I said, take your time. Then we start to talk to one another. He asked me questions like, where are you from? What do you do for a living? We start to converse. And then he asked me if I'd ever seen the famous fountain at Las Colinas. I said, I'm not sure. He described it to me. I said, I've seen a picture. He said, then you've got to see it in person. And he started to get excited. It is right on the way to the airport. If you've got an extra few minutes, I would love to show you the fountain. Just to block off the highway, and I'm not going to charge any extra money. It's a $22 flat rate from downtown out to the airport. And it's not only the most beautiful fountain in the entire Dallas area, it may be the most beautiful fountain in the entire United States. Would you like to see the fountain? I said, show me the fountain. I was getting excited. A mile or so later, he pulls off the highway, and there it is, the beautiful fountain. And he jumped out of the cab, and he pulled me out. He said, look at that. Is that the most beautiful fountain you've ever seen? I'm thinking, you're strange, man. It's just a fountain. But for those that aren't familiar with it, larger than life-size statues of horses galloping across the water, and where their hooves are hitting the water, it's splashing up. And I swear, as you look at these horses, these statues, you can sense energy and motion. And if you didn't see the big buildings behind this mountain, you'd swear you were looking out on the prairie at horses running across the water. And he goes on and on about it. We're back in the cab. We're on our way back to the airport. And he asked me for a business card because he collects the cards of the people he works for. And we exchanged cards. And he said, the next time you come back to Dallas, you call me. You let me know what time, what flight, what airline. He says, I will be there. I won't charge you any extra money. It's a $22 flat rate. But I will treat you like a limousine driver. I will park the cab outside. I will walk inside. And when you go over to get your bags, I will be standing there with open arms, ready to help you out. He said, don't worry, you'll recognize me. So we get to the airport. It's $22. He gets a huge tip. And I love telling this story because it started out to be what? A moment of misery. Very good. But it quickly turned into a moment of magic. Because with the exception of the first impression, he not only managed the moments of truth along the way, he created some moments of magic as well. He had the sodas, he had the newspapers, he had the candy, and that little trip to see the fountain. I mean, I couldn't wait to see what we're going to do the next time I came back to Dallas. Shopping at the new mall. Well, I can go on and on about Frank, but I'm going to tell you that's not the best part of the story. Now, as Paul Harvey would say, here is the rest of the story. 4 days later, I'm in my office. I open up my mail, and there's a thank you note from my cab driver, Frank. Unbelievable. How often do we receive a thank you note from a cab driver? Every Christmas, I get a Christmas card from Frank and his wife.
So that was a story of customer service and the power of customer service, right? Now, the last slide, it's a concluding slide. The next slide, please. Oh, sorry, I have it. Sorry. So conclusion, how does your loyalty scores talk about? There are numbers, 78% once they are loyal. Now, you have seen a person who is excited about customer service, makes that as a story, and he word mouths that cab driver. 69% will buy more. That means more money. We started with that notion, and we had with that notion that customer service is not about answering a telephone or resolving a problem. It's about treating as one family. Thank you very much, and thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your valuable inputs. It was indeed a privilege to have you amongst us today. May I kindly request you to take your seat amongst the audience.